Hey guys, I want to come on and do a review of a product that I just bought. Now this product I got off of Ipsy, and it was part of their Ipsy offers, so I was really excited to try this because of the fact that the Ipsy offers are heavily discounted items, so you can try items out and not feel like a complete wasted money if you aren't a huge fan of it. So that's a big reason why I love Ipsy and I love their Ipsy offers. That being said, this palette is actually by the founder of Ipsy. So I was excited to try this Michelle Phan palette. Now this palette is called the Life palette, and it is the Beach Life palette. So this comes with a bunch of eyeshadows, 4 blushes, and I think like 6 or 8 lip products as well. So I was super excited that it was a all-in-one situation. So I'm going to show you what the palette looks like itself. This is what the palette looks like itself. And in this palette you technically get 4 different palettes. You get this pink palette, you get this bronzy palette, you get this blue palette, and you get this orange and brown palette down here. So I was super excited to try these. The colors looked fun. There were some neutrals, there were some pinks, there's a little bit of everything. And if I'm gonna go with palette, I want something that's got pops of color as well as neutrals. So let's jump right into the palette itself. The packaging is okay. It is plastic, and it's pretty heavy plastic. It seems very durable, but it doesn't look very high end. That being said, this palette is supposed to retail for $75. I got this palette for $20 with the Ipsy offer. Excuse me. This palette is supposed to retail for $75. This palette, just by looking at it, in my opinion, doesn't look like it's $75. It looks like a $20 palette, in my opinion. Because of the fact that these, not all of these are full-size eyeshadows, and they're actually smaller. The big ones are actually smaller than the MAC eyeshadows or Makeup Geek eyeshadows, and those are fairly inexpensive. Those are only $6 a piece, and you could get 4 full-size eyeshadows for $20. So that's not that bad, or a little over $20. So that's not that bad for pan eyeshadows. This palette, here's a few swatches of like this color part of the palette. Now as you can see right here, there's 4 colors there, and one of them barely even shows up. I don't even think you can see it. But for a $70 palette, that is not very good pigmentation compared to, Urban Decay Vice that came out this year. This is a $65 palette. Pigment. Let's do a like brown color. So just by that, the pigmentation, you can see the difference, is almost non-existent compared to the Urban Decay. And this palette's actually more expensive. Woo, hold on. I dropped it. That palette right there is more expensive than this palette. I would 100% go with an Urban Decay palette over this Michelle Phan palette. Okay, so the pigmentation isn't that great for the eyeshadows. The blushes, on the other hand, were amazing. I did really like the blushes in this palette. I will say that. The design flaw of this palette is the fact that the lip products are in here. So, if an eyeshadow just flakes off and you get a dark eyeshadow in your nude lip gloss, the lip gloss is ruined. It's completely ruined. And when I got this palette, there was already flecks of black or flecks of dark colors in the lip product. So that was a complete bummer in my opinion. What else? The blushes are great. I mean, they're not bad. I'll show you a size comparison as well. Let me grab size comparison. So this is a MAC eyeshadow. Okay. And this is one of the big size of the Michelle Phan. So the MAC size is about twice as big as the Michelle Phan size. And that's the big one in this palette. So that in itself is kind of sad for me because these are only $6. And there's like twice the amount of product in it. So that's kind of sad. Another thing is the blushes. Let me pull my Z palette. So this is a Makeup Geek blush. This is the Michelle Phan blush. So once again, I actually bought this one. It's on sale for $5. They're normally $10. So if I place this in front of I don't know how I can do this. Okay. The Makeup Geek, you can see how much smaller it is. And when you hold it up to the side, it's actually a lot thinner as well. I don't know if you can see that. So, once again, a lot less product than the Makeup Geek blushes. So that's a bummer as well. Overall, I would not recommend buying this palette. It's okay. I sure as heck wouldn't pay $75 for it. I think Michelle Phan and her entrepreneurship is amazing. She created Ipsy. That is clearly gone crazy. It's an amazing subscription bag. I highly recommend it. But this palette makes me not want to try any of her other makeup. And first impressions, her price point is crazy. It's crazy. Let's just put it out there. It's absolutely insane. If I found this at BH Cosmetics, I'd say, okay, yeah, $20 for this palette. Okay, it's all good. But $75 for the quality? No. No. Now, if you are a beginner and you want something that is not very pigmented, this palette may be something that you're interested in because it's a little bit more forgiving. I had to build up 4 or 5 layers to get this pigmentation on my eyes out of this palette, and as a makeup artist, that's a waste of time. It's a waste of money, especially when I can get an Urban Decay palette for $65 and load up my brush once and do 1 layer and be done with having to pack on color. this eye look should have only taken me about like 2-3 minutes. It took me like 5 to do because I kept having to layer it. So that was a bummer. I mean, I hate saying that because I normally don't do negative reviews. I mainly do reviews on stuff that I absolutely love, but the fact that this was $75 originally, and to see how bad it was, I felt like I had a duty to tell you guys how bad it was. Sorry. That being said, that is my personal conclusion of this palette. If you like it, great. I'm glad you like it. For me, it didn't work for me, and that's okay. If you want to try this palette, I would definitely buy it through Ipsy or get a coupon code, anything like that, because if you don't like the product, I don't like sending back used items, even to Sephora and Ulta that you can. It's just not something that I believe in, and I kind of feel like I wasted $20 on this, so that's sad. But that's the end of my review. I love you guys, and like, comment, and subscribe. Man, I cannot say that word. Subscribe down below. Bye.